Welcome to the Tell Me Something Good podcast. I'm your host, Shelly.
And I'm your host, Jackie. And on this podcast, we talk about self development, experiences, and lessons that we've learned along the way. And today we have a very interesting topic. What are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about soul ties.
Oh, we know. We've all
We know
been
what
there.
it's like.
We know. But before we talk about that, Jelly, tell me something good.
Okay, I'm going to be honest, y'all. I cannot think of one thing this week, which is kind of sad. There's a lot of good things, health, like basic things. But so I guess I'm going to pull that card, just my health.
Your health. We were talking before we started because we both couldn't. We usually try to have something in mind before we start. And I was on the same boat and I couldn't think of one particular thing that I was like, oh, this amazing thing happened this week,
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just be thankful for our health, our family.
Yeah, because I feel like I've been having a rough past couple of days. Like my toilet's been clogged.
Oh.
So I'm like, that's the only thing I've been thinking about. And I'm like, but I'm like, at least I have a house to live in, like it makes me kind of put things into perspective.
Yeah, I feel like that. Like, there's just been things that have been happening, but it's okay.
Yeah, we're always gonna look at the bright side of it.
Yes, and we're here today. We had a meeting this morning, and we haven't had a meeting. We actually didn't get drunk at the meeting.
I feel like that always happens.
Every time we have a meeting, we'll be drinking.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we just want to be honest and say that there's times where we don't have anything.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so spectacular. But our health is spectacular. Our family is as well. And if you can't think of something to be grateful for, just remember you have your health, you have your family, you have us.
Soul ties. Okay, so what are soul ties? What is the definition? It's like what kind of attachment? Emotional?
I want to say soul ties can be almost anxious attachment in some ways, but they're what is a soul tie?
Yeah.
I think it's just someone that you can't get away from, even though and it might be a good soul tie. You might have a good one, but I think it's someone that you can't get away from because you just bond this way that you kind of trauma bond together.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so we're going to be kind of talking about how to break them, what are soul ties, how do we get attached to them. I'm like, look, y'all, I have a board here. I'm going to be honest because my memory's so
we want to make sure we don't forget. Yeah. Because then we'll be like, wait, we should have said this.
Yeah. But, yeah, so I think everybody has dealt with soul ties because it can be platonic. It could be in a relationship or anything. And it is hard to get away from them sometimes.
And it's usually people. I feel like for me, soul ties have been people I know I shouldn't be talking to anymore. In your heart. Even friendships. I've had friendships where I knew I shouldn't, but and as soon as you pull away, they want to hit you up more and be like, "What are you doing today? Or calling you out of, it's just when you try to pull away, they want to have that hold on you for some reason.
Yeah, I feel like it's literally a tie, like a string, like you're attached, kind of.
Yeah, and we've all been there. I've actually recently have been experiencing one, and it sucks because you really, you shouldn't be there, and they're not good for you, and you still, I don't know, I guess you bond in this way that is not good either.
Yeah.
So, for example, let me look up the exact definition of soul ties. Let me find it. So it says a soul tie is a strong emotional or spiritual connection between two people, which can be romantic, platonic, or familial.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
But this says it is like a new age belief system.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, what is the Christian word for it?
So there's a one in the Bible. Let me look up soul ties in the Bible. So here it says, what does the Bible say about soul ties? It says it's not in the Bible. Rather, the idea of soul ties is a man-made speculation. But it says soul ties are said to be connections from one person's soul to another person's soul. It also says we also have clear warning against fornication in scripture. Do you not know that he who unites himself with a prostitute is one with her in body?
Mm-hmm.
For it is said, the two will become one flesh. Not that the body is joined. The Bible says nothing, so I guess it doesn't really say that, but even like when we speak of sex before marriage, you don't, it creates this tie of maybe you didn't even like this person before, but hey, now we did something, and now somehow you're like, I can't get this person out of my head. Literally. No, but like, you start, we've all been there. Like, I feel like
even with being with somebody and you might be like, they ain't even that cute or whatever, but then you slip up one time and then you're like hitting them up like, what are you, it's just something that it's like it has to be something that's not visible to the eye, that's like actually a connection that's pulling us to each other. And I think that's what sex is. Like, I take it a lot more like, okay, I need to actually see if we are going to be together long term,
Yeah, because even they do say that even like sleeping with somebody, you're like sharing this intimate moment of sleep, right? Even if you're not even being sexual with them, but even sleeping, like you're sharing this vulnerable moment. Like, you're sleeping with somebody. You're trusting that they're not going to do anything. Like, I'm literally sleeping next to this person and really trusting that I'm safe, I'm good, they're not going to do anything while I'm asleep, they're going to, and that's another thing that also connects you with people. Like, even if I sleep with a man and I don't have sex with him, like, I'm like, oh, I like cuddling with you. Like, like you get like so.
But you get this sense of safety, or like you start opening up more.
And for me, like, I think recently I've been in one, and it's been a long one. It's been like over a year. And it's kind of how it started was I wasn't like, you're not really interested until like he started doing things that hurt me. I'm like, and I was putting it in my notes. Actually. That's an insider, but last night, because I was thinking about it, and I wrote in my, when you just get in your feelings, and I'm like, this is what I wrote. It's not nothing long. Y'all know when you're in your feelings and you're just like, I wrote, like, what, like, whenever a man shows me that they don't want me, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, let me show you like how great I am again and again until you finally get it. And I think that is kind of being in a soul tie, because even though I know that this man will never fully see it because he's going to continue to do what he does, I'm like, let me keep showing him. Like, I want to prove to him that I'm like why would you mess it up?
It's kind of like, do you not think I'm good enough? Or you kind of make it, internalize it more, but it really has nothing to do with you.
Yes. And like, in my mind, I'm like I say, like, I was thinking, like, why don't you want me? Like, let me keep showing you how great I am so you can, like, understand why you made a mistake, And I'm like, but
and it's kind of ego, I guess.
Yes,
like,
dude, I have that on I'm like, you hurt my ego. Like, why did you hurt my ego? But that's the thing, like, you never want to be with somebody that you have to constantly have to be like proving that you are good enough when you've already given them all that you can. You sleep with them, you give them your honesty, your loyalty, and what more can you give somebody? And that's still not enough.
So do we want to focus more on like the relationship or all of them?
I think we could do like relationship and friendship and family kind of fit in the same way. For relationships, I think some signs that you're in a soul tie is when you need to leave.
And it's very hard.
It's very hard. Like, no matter how bad, and you might have said, I'll leave if he does this, and then they do it, and then you still like, wait.
You make excuses or
like, you're finding excuses to make for this person, and they're not, like, when if they're if they're costing you literally your peace and your mental, like, if you're getting anxiety, if you're constantly like, what's going on? What are they doing? that's probably a soul tie. And I think
Not a healthy one.
not a healthy one, because you know, like I've been there, and I used to be like, as soon as like, oh, he did this, I'm done. If he did this to me, then I'll be done. And even though I am done, I'm still communicating. And it's like, what is this hold that you have on me? And we were just, I'm like, and you can pray over and say like, release me from this, like, God, like, help. You can pray to that, I think.
Yeah.
But it is hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. I feel like I had one. It was this guy that I dealt with for years, and I feel like one day I finally had it with him. But it was more of we weren't in a relationship. Well, we had been in a relationship before, but then like I finally was like, this isn't working out. So we broke up. You know, I would talk to other people. But if we both would be single at the same time, it would be like, well, you know,
like, hey,
yeah, hey, big head.
You up?
Literally, yeah, that. And one day I did, like he came over or whatever, and I remember the next morning, it was like weird because it's like we're not together, like you don't even know how to interact. But last night was a different story.
Yes, it's like awkward.
Yeah,
almost.
And I remember like he was leaving, and it was kind of awkward. Like it felt very transactional.
Yeah.
And but on my part, it was like I actually had feelings. But from him, it felt transactional. And I remember I was like, if this guy does not like hit me up all day, like I'm done with this. Like I hate. So I think like just pay attention to how you feel. Like I feel like we know ourselves so good. Like this does not feel right to me. This feels, I don't know. I feel kind of dirty. Like my soul was dirty, you know, just because I couldn't be like, I love you. Like it was just
like, bye.
Yeah. See you.
And you don't know when's the next time, because it's like, well, whenever we both, like whenever either you hit me up or I hit you up, and it's still.
So after that, I decided, I was like, I'm done, like until I find a good guy. And I was like praying, like, please text me today so that I don't have to cut him off. But he didn't text me that day, and I was like, okay, I'm actually done.
Me, you're like, please, like if you don't text me, I'm gonna cut you off. But
like even making excuses, even though I felt it, like this doesn't feel right, you know.
And it's funny because, you know, even girls, I know we do this, will say, well, it's just this. I'm not getting attached. But why are you thinking about him? Why are you still responding to him? When he says jump, you jump. Like, you know, like, and I used to be like that too. I used to have a thing, and I would be like, well, I never had feelings for him, so it doesn't matter. Like,
I think it's impossible.
It's impossible because, and I would literally gaslight myself into thinking I didn't have feelings. And then it would hurt me, like situations like that where you're like, we see each other, he makes me feel special, and then bam, it's like not consistent. It's very inconsistent, and your feelings become inconsistent, and you're getting anxiety about like, dang, are they with somebody else?
Yeah.
Like now he's not hitting me up tonight. That means he has to be with somebody else. Yeah. So I don't know. It just feels really invasive to your space, to your mental. Like for me, like, I don't know. It just gives me anxiety.
Yeah. And I had anxiety for a long time, and I would like be like, should I hit him up? And honestly, like this happened like during COVID. So it was kind of easier not, just because I was scared to get COVID for anybody. So it made it easier. But I just want to say, like, if you actually take the time to like wait, like I'm still waiting, y'all. Oh, and the crazy thing is, when that happened, it wasn't because of God. I wasn't like, I was just like, this just doesn't feel right.
Well, that says a lot about your self-respect and yourself. You know yourself to the point where you're like, I'm not giving anyone a part of me until they prove themselves. And honestly, that is how it should be. But I feel like when we're young, we're just wild, and we just want to like, you know, like do things.
I feel like that's what's pushed on us too, though. Like if you think about music, like TV, like I feel like I used to look at people who waited till marriage kind of like, that's kind of weird.
Me too. I'd be
like what?
How are you gonna wait, and like you don't know how
are you not gonna test drive the car?
I was trying to say, but I couldn't think of it.
Yeah.
But I used to think like that too, and even like now I'm like, could I do that? Like actually wait till marriage? But I literally, anyone that I speak to in the future that even shows any interest or I'm interested in, I'm not just gonna give them that of me, because It
I
is sacred.
at least have higher standards, because back then it was kind of like, I don't know, my standards were very.
Mine too.
Honestly, I'll be honest, like they were, but now I'm like, at least take me on take me on dates and want to have a future together. Like if we don't see a future together and we're not having deep conversations, then I think there's no point.
And if their conversations or your conversations are like only about like sex, like let's say like, oh, you don't want to have sex with me tonight, or blah blah, blah. Like you know when they're showing more interest is when they want something from you. Yeah. And that is so sad. That is sad. Because have you ever done it and then they like become cold with you? Yeah. Like they're just like, all right, bye. Like, yeah. And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, and you feel it. Like you're just like laying there. Yeah. Like sad. And then they're just like snoring away and you're like, what the heck? Yeah.
Like, and I think it affects women more, honestly. Well, that's what it seems like. Yeah. You know, like I feel like I would feel like, honestly, dirty. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be like, never again. Yeah. And I've had that conversation before where I'm like, dang, you don't even want to like you're just switch up. Like, or they'll be so sweet. And then once you finally like, whatever, like they're switch up. Yeah. So I don't understand. And then meanwhile you switch up, but you're nicer. You're like, oh, good morning, honey.
And for us, that's what a soul tie is. Like you feel more connected to them afterwards. But it needs to be with the right person.
Yeah. And I think that sometimes some people, they see it as just sex, right? Some men do. It's just sex to them. And so they could go and have sex with like 5 different women in a week, and it's just that to them. And then we're over here with over one man. Like,
and I think that's what makes a lot of people more dysfunctional. Like whoever's hooking up with a lot of people, like, you know, I feel like it makes they don't realize they're having soul ties. And sometimes you think you don't, but in some way you do. Because there's somebody like from when I was 19, like I still think about them and I'm like, oh, like, you know, I don't know. I feel
like you have a connection, like you still think about them in a way, like for no reason. Yeah. You're just like, why am I still thinking about them? Yeah. Yeah. I think what I've recently gone through is a soul tie, because even I know it's not good for me. I knew it last year and I still entertain, you know, like I've known it. And honestly, even when it started, I knew it wasn't right. I knew it didn't but then the moments did feel right. Yeah. And like I told you, so I had been feeling a little bit weird lately, and I asked God, I'm like, God, if this ain't my man, please show me this weekend. I'm like, please show me. I promise I will obey you this time, because I've asked him to show me, and he does. And I'm like, oh, okay. So this time I was like, God, I promise I will obey you. If you show me, I will obey you this time, I promise. So we are hanging out. It's going great, like that weekend, like everything's good. I'm like, see, I knew this was my man, until the last day. It was like he showed me exactly what I needed to see, and I know it's not right, you know, like even.
And usually, if you're asking God, it's like you already know. You just want a sign, like, you know, it's like you kind of already thinking like deep down inside.
If you're asking God for a sign, then something in you doesn't feel right, you know? And sometimes we do self-sabotage good relationships because we're so used to being in toxic relationships. So it could be. So don't get those confused, because you might be in a healthy relationship, but you've never been in one. So you might think, this isn't right. This isn't normal. But that means you need some healing.
But if you've had like red flags before and then you're asking for a sign, then it's probably like, you know.
And there have been multiple, like there's, you know, and that's why I said, God, I'm going to obey you this time. I promise I will. And but I thought it was crazy how the first 2 days I'm like, it's perfect. Yeah. It's perfect. Everything's going amazing, until I got exactly what I needed. And even though I didn't know something was going on, I just knew something wasn't right. Yeah. And I think I really do have like this like intuition that is so right all the time. And I would even be like, I know you did this, and I wouldn't know. And he'd be like, who told you? And I'm like, I was just saying, you know, like I just know.
Yeah, I've done that too. This is, I don't know if I want to say this, but I would too, like with guys that I dated, like to say things and they would be like looking at me like, how you know? Like one time I remember I had a dream that a guy got shot and he got shot. And he was kind of like, are you doing voodoo? But I'm like, no, I texted him like, be careful, like I had a dream. And like, I think a week later, like he got shot. And I'm like,
Stop. It's just, I think I'm the same way too. Cause the one time I told somebody, I'm like, I had a dream that they built a bank right here, right? And he was like, who told you? I'm like, what? He's like, literally, someone just told me they're building a bank there. And I'm like, no, I had a dream we were driving by there and there was a bank, but I'm, you know, like, I forgot what I don't know why, but there's not one there. He's like, oh yeah, they're buying it out and building. And I'm like, what? Like,
that's what I believe. And like, yeah.
And, I was having dreams too. And I think I get visions. And it might be,
I do too.
And I swear I can see what you were doing. Like I literally feel like I get visions of what they were doing. Or
oh my, but I think it's too that when you're with somebody, you know their behavior.
Yes,
like, you can predict what they're going to do.
And literally I can see it in my head. Like to the point where I'm like,
you just know them so
I just know you did. It's just like,
that's probably a gift. Like that we need to like look into more.
But actually listening to that gift because
like use it for good, not to be like, I caught you.
I caught you. And then, hey, so what did I do? Like it just, but I think that when things like that happen, that means you need to trust yourself. I think a lot of times the issue is we don't trust ourselves enough. We think we need external proof. We need, but sometimes
I'm trying to work on that. Like, ask for advice and stuff, but also trust in myself to be like, okay, I do need to cut this person out, or, you know.
And how many times, ask yourself, how many times did you have a feeling you trusted yourself and it was right?
Yeah.
A lot of times. So many times. Like there's been times where I've even like, you know, when you just get like energy about somebody, you're like, I don't know. And I don't want to judge and I don't want to put a finger on it, but I just don't want to be close. Like I see you from afar and and then you hear things like that they've done to other or whatever. And I'm like, I just knew in my gut, this person was not someone I needed to be around, you know? Yeah. Okay. With family members, explain that a little bit to me.
I didn't know it until we read the definition. I'm like, I didn't really think of family being soul ties. But I guess it can, like, I think it comes down like who you share your energy with. Like you can get a soul tie with who you ever, and of course family, you kind of have this unconditional love, and so I'm guessing like that.
I'm thinking even with family, it could be, let's say you're going through a lot, but you have that family member that always is like needing, maybe they have a soul tie to you that is like, I need to talk to you about this at any second, at any time. And I like, you have no choice but to be there, you know, like, and it's like, oh, maybe they have a soul tie to me where I'm having to like, help them fix their issues. But I don't know, maybe like, and no matter what they do to you, no matter what, like your family, you know, like you still always, you like, no matter what, you're tied in that way.
Yeah. Like they say, blood is thicker than water. Like you're kind of stuck with them. But
I don't know. It's hard because you know, going through it is hard, but then I look back at times where I went through it in the past and I got through it. Like it was just fine. So how do you get over a soul tie?
I think I had to just cut them off.
Cut it off. Cut it off completely. I think that's the only way you really can.
I wonder, can you like completely cut a soul tie?
I think you will always, like I don't know, because
I think that's why in the Bible, like, sex it's just so sacred, you know, like.
I think you'll always have them in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
But you have to cut it off completely. Because, and I even have said, like, I wish he would leave me alone because I am okay without, like, it's like, I don't need to reach out. I'm good. Like, but as soon as they reach out to me, I'm like, I wish he could just leave me alone. And I will be, in times that I have been left alone, I do just fine, you know, with that. Like, but it's always those people who they don't realize what they're doing to you. I
Yeah.
think sometimes they don't realize, like, dang, I'm really messing her up by hitting her, because they're selfish.
Yeah. Because I recently had like an old soul tie like hit me up. And I was like I knew I wasn't going to reply, but I was like, and it makes you think about the past. And that's why I'm like, did I really cut that soul tie off? Even though I haven't spoke to them in like years, you know? But it still makes you be like,
Well, maybe
some are deeper than others, I guess.
I think some are deeper than others. And maybe now he has that to you, like this attachment, but you don't.
Yeah, that is true.
And I think there's one difference. Like, I will always care about the people I've been with.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I will. Like, I'm not even, like, if I hear something happen to somebody that I was with, even if they did me, like, horrible, I still feel bad. And, like, you still, I think that's part of being human. Like, you will always care about people. I was watching a video last night, and it was kind of about this, and it was saying to stop being that understanding victim.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm a victim, but I'm being so understanding.
Yeah.
Stop doing that. I think we all do that. Like we're very understanding people, but we're still the victims in some ways, right? But I think I have that issue where someone will do something to me, and I'm like, I try to understand it, and I'm like, well, you know, it's because they went through this or this. Okay, but they still did what they did.
I feel like it's a form of like toxic empathy of like, because I'm an empath, I feel like, and I would make excuses, and I would be like, this happened in their childhood, like, go away, you know, and it's like, at some point, you can't do that to yourself, because you can't fix nobody, you know?
Yeah, and I do that a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
And then I even feel bad for people who do me wrong. And I'm like, how are you going to survive without me? Like, I really do feel bad for people who do me wrong, because I'm like, wow, you just like I feel like I try to help you in some ways, and now you're just going to fall back into, but that's not my responsibility. And I was reading on it too, and it says that sometimes we don't realize it, but we're mothering these men.
Yeah.
Like, oh, honey, you don't know how to communicate. Let me teach you.
Yeah.
Let me hold you while you cry about how you messed up, because even though I'm the one that's being hurt, you know, like.
That is true.
And it's something you got to ask yourself, am I mothering this man, grown-ass man? Because I've been the mother, and I ain't got no kids. I've mothered.
I got one. I don't want another one.
But yeah, like, it's just so crazy to me how someone can do you so wrong, and then they're the ones that you're the.
Yeah.
I'm like, comforting you because you did me wrong. What happened here? And that is what happens with soul ties, though. Like, that can happen.
So do you think the only way to cut off a soul tie is to like just cut it, like not speak, not have anything with them?
Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes it takes that person moving on from you and finding their next victim. Sometimes it just takes literally you, as soon as they find somebody, it kind of like you're free from it.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I'm free.
When somebody has their attention.
Yes, someone else has their attention. And then once that's done again, you better just keep it like that, because you can fall right back into it. If you're dealing with someone that is inconsistent, or someone that you feel so drawn to, you don't even understand why, because they're not even treating you right, then maybe you should reconsider, like, is this even like a functional relation? What are we? And if they're not willing to take the next step to have a serious relationship with you, then it's best to cut it off.
Yeah. I remember I was dating this guy. I think I told you about it when I was young. And his mom told me, she was like, why would he buy a cow when he gets the milk for free?
You did tell me that.
And I was like, and I was just like, this, like, what? But now it makes sense to me. Like, literally, why would he? Yeah, like, it makes sense.
Like, when he can just get the qualities of a woman, or of a girlfriend,
wife,
or a
even,
wife.
Or if I'm acting like wifey and doing all the things. And now I'm just like, that makes so much sense, you know?
It's about boundaries, too.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same way. I remember before getting into this, I was like, I'm not going to live with a man until I get married, because I don't want to go through what I went through in the past with my ex-boyfriend and him moving and leaving. That was so sad, and I didn't want to go through that again. And then here it goes, like, and it wasn't even like that, but.
And it makes it even harder.
it was like I didn't have that boundary of like, you can't stay every night, you can't be here every night. And then it goes back to that feeling of like, I feel lonely when I was just fine with before them, you know. But yeah, I was talking about how us women, sometimes we don't ask from anything from a man, right? Because we want to just hold on to that. But the next girl is going to ask him for it, and he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Because, like, even the little things, like, oh, like, you know.
He's either going to do it or she's going to leave him.
Yeah. Like it's either they're going to do it or she's, but don't be the one that stays.
Yeah, and puts up with it.
But I do think that, like, sometimes as we don't want to ask a man for, like, well, this is what I want. Well, somebody will. Yeah. And they're either going to do it or she's going to leave him. And then guess what? He's going to be like, damn, that girl really left me. Like, she's going to be the one that got away. And guess what? She's going to find a man that does those things for her.
Yeah, and I think, too, like, with me, I feel like so much more peace now that I feel like I'm not tied to anybody like that. And now I'm like, okay, I have, like, I kind of run the household on my own, you know, I'm good. So if anybody's going to add to that, it needs to be, like, more than what I was taking from men. But yeah, like, I think the only time I was like this weekend when the toilet's clogged, I'm like, I need a man.
Like, where is there a man to do this?
Yeah, but did we hit on everything?
Well, I think it's good to have guy friends. Like, not even like that, but hey, help me with this. Like, you know, and I think you don't like to ask people for help.
Yeah, I think it's that too. I usually will ask my dad, but he was working all day yesterday, so I'm like, but I don't. Yeah, I think it's that. I don't.
Yeah, it's like, but there are people who will help you, and I think it's just about asking. I feel like when it comes to stuff like that, I'm okay with asking people, like, hey, can you help me? Like, you know, but I get you though. Like, even with my situation, like, when my ex moved away, I was like, wait, I kind of like, not even, obviously I missed him at the time, but then I was like, I like this. Like, I don't want nobody coming into my space, and I don't want to live with a man until he's my fiance or whatever it is. And then those boundaries started coming off. Little by little, they were coming off. And then I was like, how did this man bamboozle his way in here? What the hell happened? I literally was like, when did this happen?
I'm thinking of that meme, like, you going to your house. What is it like? Who are you? He's like, I'm the owner of this house.
And I'm like, wait. Yeah, literally though. I'm like, what happened? But obviously that was something that I need to work on my boundaries. And I'm excited to really do it, because I don't know, I'm just tired of that. What did I tell you? I'm tired of dealing with dumbasses.
Yeah, but it has made me more, I'm like, okay, I can do like, I'm like, okay, I am going to get the clog. Like, I know I can do the hard thing.
Girl, I'll go with you and clog this toilet.
It's been clogged for like 2 days.
You have a thing?
It won't come up. Yeah.
Have you threw water in there?
Yeah.
In the back.
Oh, no, I hadn't tried that. But we'll talk about that after. But
we're going to see.
But even like, I remember when I worked at Taco Loco, and I'm like, should we take out the trash? And you like, no, girl.
I'm like, that's a man's job. No.
So I'm like, I need to work on.
No, literally,
maybe I forgot about forever.
That. Yeah, and even now when I work there, I leave the trash there. I said, I'm not taking, like, this is a man's job. You're gonna take the trash out, because I'm over here sweeping and cleaning the bathrooms and doing this. But sometimes I do feel
like gender roles. That's why I'm like, I need.
Sometimes it's okay to have them like I'm gonna sweep, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
But you're gonna. And one thing that I did learn to love is getting gas pumped in my car.
Oh yeah,
that was nice.
I think one guy did that for me. Like, what was that guy that would like make sure everything was good, and the rest couldn't care.
But what are we sacrificing by getting?
I know.
Gas? Like, I'd rather pump my own gas if that means you're gonna be loyal.
Yeah.
Like, it's not
That's
worth
what it. Seems like it's like, can you have both?
Can you have a loyal man who does it for you? Is willing to go the extra mile for you? I think you can. I do, because
if you demand it, like, you know.
Yeah, you have to set that standard. And if you're in the same boat, like, you're single, you want to start dating again, you have, and you know what I learned too? Don't tell your man and your
what
new
you look for or what?
No, don't tell them what other men have done to you, because then they're like,
Oh,
wait,
she dealt with all that.
yeah, then she'll be fine. If you tell me you cheated on her, oh, I can do this. This is not the worst that she's been through. So if you're in the same boat, do not tell you guys say, oh yeah, you talk about how good you were treated. Oh, I went here, I did this. Like, it wasn't for me. I haven't found my husband.
I saw even like, don't tell them what you look for, because sometimes they'll do it at first just to trick you.
Like if you say like, I love a man who's in the church, guess what? They're gonna be like posting all these Bible verses on their story just to gaslight you, and then there you go, you fall into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that's something that I've learned is I'm not gonna speak on the things that I've been through at first, maybe in the later on, but I'm just gonna make it like, oh yeah, like I just, I chose not to be with them. They weren't my husband, point blank, period. And if you do the same, you ain't my husband either. I might decide that about you. I haven't decided yet. But
yeah, I think soul ties, you just need to cut it off. I think praying about it helps a lot.
It does.
Because it's really hard to do it on your own, and it's like a everyday. You got to like decide, I'm not going to fall into that again.
And it's even thinking, am I idolizing this man to the point where I'm not listening to what God is telling me?
Yeah.
Like, what does this man have that, like God already told me, you're not listening. We're not listening. Like, why am I making this man, the love that I have for this man greater than the love I have for Jesus, or, and God. And you shouldn't be with him. You know it.
You know it.
You just know when you know. And my thing is, I don't want to marry a man that I know he's not for me.
Yeah, I don't propose to me and I knew he wasn't for me. I'm like, would I say no?
I think I would say no.
Really?
Yeah. I would be like, especially if they knew already that I had doubt and you still do it. Because I feel like I'd be very honest. I've even told this to the guy I was with. I was like, because he would always talk about marriage and this. And I'm like, this year is not the year because we have a lot of things to work on. And like, I will tell you, like, if I'm not ready, I'm not. Then don't gaslight me into getting engaged with you.
Yeah.
Like.
But I think the people pleaser would be like, okay, you're down on one knee. Like, am I going to be like, no?
I'd be like, I told you. Yes. I told you. Like, I feel like I would. Yeah. So I had told this person that I didn't want to date because I didn't trust them, right? Tell me why we're on a boat, and we were still working on things, but I had told him I don't want to date because I don't trust you. Yeah. So we're on a boat, and he asked me out, even though I told him don't ask me out. He's like, "Do you want to be my girlfriend?" And I'm like, "What?" And then he's like, "The guys are watching. The guys that are running the boat, like they're prepared. They're taking pictures, like." And guess what? I said yes.
That's what I'm saying. Because imagine being proposed and they have a photographer, everything.
Yes, but I had already told.
Yeah.
And it kind of.
It puts you in a position of like, why would you do that?
And then I did say, I'm like, I told you, like, why? And then it was just like, to me, it kind of came up. And I even I was very honest. I was like, I don't know. Like, you knew I wasn't ready, but I mean, let's try it out. It didn't work, Mm-hmm. So even that to me is, now that I look back at it, it's very. I was on a boat, though. I shouldn't have been on that boat with him.
But I think if you made it clear.
I did. I made it very clear. And I remember texting my sisters, like, y'all, he just asked me out. I don't know. Like, it doesn't feel right because he knew that I wasn't. And I know someone, this is kind of funny, I know someone that got proposed to. She heard that her boyfriend was at the strip club, right? Because her friend was there. So she tells her. So my friend tells me, I heard my boyfriend was at the strip club, blah, blah, blah. And then she confronts him and he's like, why are you, like, I heard you were at the strip club. He's like, it's because I was going to propose to you and I was at my bachelor party already.
Oh my goodness.
And he proposed to her. Right. And she's like, why the hell would you propose to me? And she's like, no. And he's like, well, here's your ring. He actually gave her the ring and she pawned it.
I would too.
Period. But I'm like, men are so
like, that is the worst lie.
I was at the strip club because I was celebrating my bachelor. How if you haven't even proposed? Oh, and I do think that when you meet someone and everything seems so perfect at first, but then things start like like you hear, he says everything you want to hear, like, and then you get so attached at first, like it's like this weird attachment because you do have sex with them, or you start seeing them all the time, or being on the phone with them all the time. It can create that too, like
I think even like constantly texting, call, like, because I feel like there's been times before I even did something with someone that I've already been like, did they text me back, like, you know.
I don't know, we as women need to put our foot down and start demanding the things that we deserve. And if someone's not fulfilling that, then that's not your husband. I think that's the way that I see it now. I used to be like, well, we're just boyfriend, like that's just but now I'm like, no, you're gonna be my husband. And if you're already doing this now while we're dating, imagine it's when we're married for 10 years, you're gonna get tired of my ass even more. And then when I'm pregnant, you're gonna be over there cheating on me while I'm at home with my baby, causing all this trauma to me and my child. Like, these are things you got to think about. You got to
think about that. And I used to didn't, like, at all. But it is hard because, like I said before, like, what the world pushes to us is like, oh, just hook up, like, it doesn't matter, or just, it's not that serious, or it just kind of desensitizes us to, like, how important each decision we make is in our life, you know?
Yeah, because even if you do it once or twice, even when you see them out in public, it's like you feel weird. Like, there's this feeling, or this, like, I don't know, you feel something, like,
and even I feel like it's like you're like, okay, they've seen me naked, but I can't even, it's just weird, but we can't even speak, like, it's just this, I don't know, just from the soul, like, you just feel like this vulnerability that they've seen this side of you, like, I don't know, but and I like, sometimes I used to say, like, I regret, like, and I've said it on the podcast, like, some of the decisions that I made where I created those soul ties with people that weren't even, I don't even know why I did it. It could be the alcohol. It could be just stupid decisions and I've sat here and said I regret it, but you know what? I can't live my life regretting those, but I can learn from it and say they will never have that side of me again. Yeah.
Never. Like, I might have done it in the past, but they will never get to touch me or even have that closeness with me ever again.
And if you set, like, certain boundaries, I feel like eventually you have to get it. You know, like, if you're like, this is what I want. It might take a while. Like, I've been waiting for a long time. And I'm like, those people will be sick. Like, once you reach your full potential and, like, find somebody who loves you, who wants the same things you do, has the same morals, I feel like they would be sick. Like, oh my God, you know?
Like, oh, that could have been me.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready to be a man. No, because I do think, I don't even know if I'm delusional or what, but I do think that, like, my husband can be that for me. I really do. Like, I know it's hard to believe it when you go through some really shitty relationships, to think that.
Especially nowadays.
Because there's so much, like, access to different women, and there's so many women who don't care, and but yeah, I think that we can use relationships as a lesson. I think that's what I learned a lot from my previous relationship, and then now the one that I was in. I've learned what I really truly don't want and what I can't ignore. And even if you try to forgive somebody, it's like you never really get over it.
Yeah.
Like, even if the times that I have forgiven him, I would be like, okay, I'm going to forgive you. I won't bring it up no more. I'm not going to bring it up. But guess where it was at? In my brain. Oh, that camera died. But it's okay.
Yeah, we'll just do this one.
Yeah, but, you know, even if you feel, and this is advice too, like, if you're in the same situation and you're dating somebody who you don't see that there's any change happening, and you're just constantly in this, like, anxious attachment style, ask yourself, do I want to be like this for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
And if they're not doing anything to fix it or to help you in this, then I think that you should just cut it out. But it is hard. It's hard. It really is hard. But listen to our podcast. Listen to this episode anytime you want to, you know. And sometimes for me, like, it does help to listen to videos about it.
Yeah.
you know. And if you are someone that has gotten hurt by someone, or you're dealing with insecurity issues because of this person, remember that it says everything about them and nothing about you. To me, if someone is willing to hurt you or cheat on you, even though you have never, you would never do that to them, honestly, I feel bad for them, because they will never be satisfied. Never.
Yeah, it's like they'll never know that deep love of like, because you're like, I would do anything for you, and then it's like, it was just so easy for you to, I don't know, it kind of makes you question yourself, but it has nothing to do with you.
It will make you question yourself. It'll make you think that you're not worthy. Like, wow, I wasn't worthy of it. What more could I have given you? But no, it's just, I think people like that just are never really satisfied.
Yeah.
And all you can do really is pray and hope that, and I don't even, when people are like, I'm gonna pray for you, like in the most like sarcastic way, like, oh, I'm gonna pray for you. Yeah. No, like I genuinely
actually pray.
Pray. Yes, pray. And you pray for them, and I promise God is watching, and he's like,
and that's
my
gross.
child. That's my child. That's mine. He's like, because it does, sometimes I'm like I start getting in my head, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna pray for him, and I'm gonna pray that he finds a woman that he feels so deeply for, that he is loyal to her and he treats her right, because no one deserves to go through this.
What are your non-negotiables?
Now they've changed. I want someone, and he doesn't have to know everything. Like, he doesn't even have to be like, oh, holy man. Not yet. Like, we can work on that together. But someone who is curious or wants to learn about God and wants to has God in our relationship.
Yeah.
Because I think if you have a man like that, then they think twice before they do things.
Yeah.
They say a God-fearing man, he knows his consequence. There's consequences to his actions. He knows there's a God out there watching him. He doesn't just do things out of selfishness.
Yeah, because I think a lot of us, I think everybody has things they have to do with, from their past or baggage or whatever. But having the spiritual aspect of it makes you be able to see those things and heal them. So I think, that's definitely one for me too.
But if you asked me this like 6 months ago, I would have been like, I wouldn't have even brought that up. But now that is important to me.
Yeah, because it's a part of the morals. Like, what are your morals? And like, what do you want? Yeah. I think that's like my number one.
Yeah, that's like my number one now. I think another thing is, I don't want someone who needs to go clubbing every weekend.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just at the club and you stay at the club, that's not my husband.
Yeah.
I
think somebody who's like has a good relationship with their family is one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't want to have like mother-in-law issues. You know how some people, I'm like, I wouldn't want that.
I would want somebody who has a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
Like, that I can joke with, and that can joke with me, and just I think that's very important. It's a good sense of humor. Non-negotiables. Wow, what else?
I think those are like my top 3.
Yeah, I think so too, because I think everything else is like, it can work. Everything else can, or obviously this is like the bare minimum, but like someone who's honest even whenever he knows that he might be in the wrong. That can say like, look, this happened. I just want to let you know, because I don't know how you're going to feel about it. Like, they don't keep things from you or like lie because they're afraid. Like, they'll rather be honest and care about how like you would feel about it and see your own reaction than to just not. I think that, like, honestly, even if a man came to me and was like, look, I gotta tell you this, then I know that he's gonna tell me, like, in
like, it's burning him inside, like, I want you to know that.
Yeah, like, I've been holding, I can't, like, and I will literally gain so much respect for him, and if I didn't have to find out in any other way.
I think pretty much that, and like emotional intelligence. I know somebody who just wants to hide their feelings or feels, I guess, the toxic masculinity of like, I want a man that could cry with me, if they needed to, or like that.
Oh, we also said emotionally available.
Yeah, that too.
Because I think when you're with someone who isn't, it's just like you're constantly trying to pull something out of them. And I even think that when you're with if you are emotionally available and you're with someone who isn't, it almost feels like you're always the one talking and talking and talking. Like I'm always the one like, I feel this. How do you feel? Like, and they don't say anything. And you're just like, it kind of makes you want to shut down a little bit too, because you don't want to keep just being the one that.
Yeah. You don't feel as open.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like I just went to therapy. I'm not kidding. I really do feel like I was in therapy right now, because I don't know. I just do feel like this was like my therapy. Is this what I'm gonna start paying you, Jelly? I was looking at BetterHelp. I'm not kidding, but
you should do it.
I was gonna do it, but it was like $300 a month.
I thought it was affordable.
I need to try. Yeah, me too. I thought BetterHelp. I need to know, because you have to go ahead and get like a 4 weeks. You pay in advance. So I'm like, let me try it one time, see if I like it. Even if I like my therapist, like I need to know if I like this person or we connect. And you have to go ahead and buy it. So I was like, maybe I'll do it in-person therapy and see how it goes.
I think I would need more in person, because if I want to tell you, like I need to feel the vibe. I don't know.
Yeah, so maybe in the next, I am going to look into therapy and see how that is.
But I was seeing how, because on TikTok, there was people who like, why do I feel like if I go to therapy, like I've already analyzed every aspect of my life. Like I know everything that I need to do, because I can think back and be like, oh, 10 years ago, this happened to me and it made me feel this way. And that's why I act this way now. Like you kind of analyze. And I'm like, I wonder if I would get anything out of it.
I know, because I can look back at why I need validation from a man is because I would always ask for it when I was a kid. Like, I can literally tell if they're like, why do you feel this way? It's because when I was in 3rd grade, I needed to show my grades to my parents so they could be like, good job. And that made me feel, like.
And I'm like, is that normal?
I think it's normal to know, but then it's like, okay, what are we doing to heal that part of it? Like we know, like for me, one of the things that I know is that I do need validation from my partner, or I like acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And it's because when I was little, I would always show my parents my grades, because they wouldn't acknowledge it unless I show, I'd be like, look, I did good. And I just needed to hear like, good job. Like, and I was like, yay, like they're proud of me. So I know that, but then it's like, okay, when do I get away from that? What do I need to do to heal that validation that I need from them? So maybe therapy might.
I think, maybe learning to be proud of yourself. Like, like that's something I do with my son. Like he told me his grade. He's like, I have all A's or whatever. And I'll be like, good job. And I used to always be like, I'm so proud of you. But now I'll be like, you should be very proud of yourself. And I'll still be like, I'm proud of you too. But I try to include that in there.
Like, how do you feel that you've done? Like, oh, I love that.
Like you work so hard. Like you should be so proud.
Yeah. My nephew was telling me that he passed 2 credits that he needed. And I was like, good job. That is awesome. I'm like, I'm proud of you. He's like, I cheated though. And I was like, it takes effort to cheat. That means you cared. Like for you to cheat on. But wait, am I instilling that cheating is okay? I got to go back. I got to go fix that. Because I was like, well, at least you tried. Like you cared to do, because cheating takes effort.
Yeah.
Cheating in any way takes effort. I'll tell you that right now.
I was thinking how I used to not care in school. Like we would have homework in like 5 minutes of class. I would be like writing down the answer.
Me too.
Like I did not care. That's why I'm like, I think school just it was not for me.
I was the same way, and I would copy Lexi. So like, because Lexi would sit in front of me, and she would put her, like we would have a test. I wouldn't know what we were having the test, and I used to care. Elementary, middle school was like my prime. A, B honor roll, and if I had a B, I was like upset.
Yeah.
And then in high school, it was just like I dreaded it, and then I would tell Lexi to put her paper. She would let me copy her in school. Lexi is really smart, really, really smart. But yeah, I don't know. In high school, it's just like,
I think I'm just like, I'm tired of this grandpa. Like, because it's like 12 years. It's like,
like 12 years of this. I'm tired. And then you were telling me I have to go to college. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, if you're working to cut soul ties, it's gonna be hard. And I think recognizing it, because I used to didn't even know what soul ties were. Like I would be like, okay, I feel this way. And I used to feel like I had to give in to like my feelings. And it's like, no, you can feel like, okay, I miss them, but be like, but I'm not going to entertain it.
Yeah. Just because you miss them doesn't mean you need to reach out to them.
Yeah.
Because you're going to miss them because you cared for them. And sometimes, like, it ended because they did something. You didn't end it because you didn't feel anything. So you're going to miss them. You're going to want to contact them. You're going to feel sick to your stomach when you see them sometimes. You're going to even feel sick to your stomach when you know they're hanging out with other people.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to cause this, like, sickness. But the longer you distance yourself and stop looking at what they're doing or even wondering or asking, the quicker your healing journey is going to be.
You got this.
Okay. Me. Yeah, this video was actually for myself. I'm just kidding.
And I think, because even with me, like, I was like, what part did I play in this? You know, like, should I have been like, you deserve it?
To me?
Yeah.
No,
because I think you can, when we started podcasting, I feel like we kind of talked about it, like, a little bit, opened up about it. But then I was like, well, but I'm like, should I have been more like,
no, because
I would have look at the red flag.
I would have still done what I was gonna do, and I think
sometimes you push people away that way of being like,
and then I would try to keep things from you if I knew I was doing something wrong, I'd be like, you know. So no, I think whatever you figure it out on your own, because how many times do you hear like, leave him, he's not the one for you, until you finally like do leave them. Like even before this, I remember people telling me like, all right, you ain't gonna take them back, right? Are you really? Like, I think, you know, my own family would tell me, and I would be like, well, like, no.
Because I think at first you're very passionate, like, I'm done, like this, and then give it a week or two, and then you're like, well, the hurt wears off a little bit.
Yes, and then if you're communicating with them, they tell you like, well, it's because you did this to me too, and you start feeling like, well, damn, I ain't perfect either. I did do something, and it wasn't to that extent, but I did hurt them in some way, maybe. But no, that's why it's important to just really not communicate.
Yeah.
You know? But no, I think you will get there when you get there, but you need to know that if you're already having these thoughts, the sooner you leave, the sooner you heal from it. Because you don't want to be, and I don't like to call it a waste of time because you learn from it, but it can feel like, dang, I wasted a year plus with someone who didn't care about that.
Yeah.
You know, that's the biggest thing, is like, damn, I cared, I poured myself into this, and they still didn't. So when you could have been with someone who truly, truly cares for you, even if that means being with yourself.
Yeah, and you're like, with that time, I could have broke that soul tie already instead of still being, so.
Yeah, but it's a learning lesson, and everyone that's been through this, you know that it can be hard, but the sooner you do it, you cut it, the sooner you heal and you find your husband. And you ain't gonna hear no man, you ain't gonna see no man on this podcast. Never mind. I was gonna say like our own man for like ever until that's our husband, but never mind.
I'm gonna be, to everybody, I'm gonna be single until it's serious, you know?
Yeah, me too. And people didn't even know. I was like,
yeah.
I wasn't even gonna tell nobody. Oh my gosh. So it never really truly happened.
If you didn't post it, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. That's right. So yeah, guys, thank you for, is that everything?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you for watching, and we hope that we kind of brought some clarity on maybe a relationship that you're in and you're unsure of why you feel this way or why you can't get away from it.
Yeah.
And know that you can. And
yeah, and I feel like even with the men, I feel like, because we have male watchers too, but I'm like, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, even if you're a man going through this, it can happen too. Like where you get, you know, a woman is doing this to you. So we don't want you to feel like we're just attacking men, but but it does happen to everybody.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Like the video.
And we plan on having guests. We're trying to plan that out. So stay tuned, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye. We love you. Bye.
Right on time.
Right on time, for real.